Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to look at a childhood favorite of mine. This is Chinese dim sum spare ribs, which you can make at home very easily. Alright, for this recipe you need about 1 pound of St. Louis spare ribs. These ribs are more closer to your sternum, so they have more of the ligaments, and this is what you'll find in more of the dim sum restaurants. So try to find these in your American supermarkets. If not, go to your Chinese supermarkets. But you can also make this recipe with the bones if you want, if you can't find them. They also turn out delicious. So alright, let's chop them up. Now for this recipe, you're looking to cut up the ribs in maybe 1/2 inch sizes. Now if you don't have a butcher that can do this for you, I highly recommend that you get one of these meat cleavers for you. These are fairly inexpensive and they do make quick work out of these spare ribs. So I highly recommend that you pick up one of these for your kitchens. Now the next step we need is pure baking soda. And what we're going to do is tenderize these spare ribs. Now in order to do traditional dim sum restaurants, what they use is a more highly basic pH. So we're going to take this sodium bicarbonate and convert it to sodium carbonate. Basically what you do is take maybe a 1/2 cup of this and put it in one of these metal pan liners and let it sit in your oven for about maybe 300 degrees Fahrenheit for about an hour. In that process you convert your sodium bicarbonate to sodium carbonate, releasing water and carbon dioxide. This is a really easy technique to help tenderize your meats much more quicker. So alright, let's go ahead and start washing these spare ribs. Alright, when it comes to washing the spare ribs, it's pretty straightforward. You basically want to continue washing it until the water runs clear, or about that time you'll notice that your spare ribs is more opaque pink. Alright. To this, we want to add fill it up with cold water. And to this, I'm going to add about maybe a teaspoon to 2 teaspoons of your sodium carbonate. Now grab your trusty chopsticks and give it a good swirl. Now we want these spare ribs to sit in the water for at least 15 minutes to 30 minutes. That'll give it good enough time for the meat to tenderize. Now after tenderizing for at least 30 minutes, let's head over to the sink and give it a good thorough rinse to rinse off all that sodium carbonate. Alright, after giving our spare ribs a good rinse and patting it down dry, let's go ahead and assemble our ingredients. For this, we need about a 1/2 teaspoon of chicken bouillon powder, 1 clove or maybe a 1/2 teaspoon of minced garlic, tablespoon of fermented black beans, 2 teaspoons of sugar, 1.5 teaspoons of salt, tablespoon of Shaoxing wine, 1 teaspoon of sesame oil, and a couple of dashes of white pepper powder. Grab your trusty chopsticks and give it a good swirl. Now we're going to marinate this for at least 30 minutes to overnight if you wish. Now this step is totally optional. You notice for some dim sum restaurants, especially for the spare ribs dish, that they include some filler in the bottom. In a general sense, it's generally taro roots minced to a 1/4 inch cubes and stir fry for a couple of minutes. You can also use pumpkins for the recipe, but in most cases people generally leave it out. So it's up to you if you want to include this, if you have this on hand. So let's dice it up. Alright, let's scoop this up and put this to the side. Alright, after our asparagus has been marinating for a couple of hours, I'm going to toss in about 2 tablespoons of cornstarch. Grab your chopsticks and give it a good swirl. On top of this, I'm going to drizzle some oil on top of it. Here I'm using just regular vegetable oil. This will give the recipe a nice glistening glow. Now before we start assembling this together, let's go ahead and stir fry our toro roots. Now when it comes to the toro root, we're going to just stir fry for about 1 or 2 minutes. So drizzle your wok with excess oil. This is maybe about a tablespoon or 2 of oil. And then just toss in your toro roots. Alright, the toro roots are stir fried to a nice light golden brown. Let's put this aside and start assembling our spare rib. Now when it comes to preparing this dish, it comes much better in smaller batches for some reason rather than one big batch. You'll still get the same taste and feel from a big batch, but I prefer doing smaller batches. Alright, let's scoop in some of your toro roots and add it to the bottom of each of your dish. To this, we're going to add our spare ribs on top. Now this is totally optional, but you can also top it with some peppers. Here's some jalapeno peppers. You can also use bell pepper, wherever you have in your fridge. And you can also mix it with some redbird chilies. Alright, let's take this to the steamer. Alright, once your steamer starts boiling, add in your spare ribs. And now we're going to cook this for about 20 to 30 minutes. By that time, it should be velvety smooth. Alright, after cooking for 30 minutes, let's take a quick look. Just delicious. What I love about this recipe is how soft and tender the spare ribs are. It just does not taste like anything you had before. This is what this tenderization of the sodium carbonate does for this recipe and makes it stand out exceptionally. So if you found the content of this video useful, hit the like button. If you want to see more videos like this, hit the subscribe button. If you have any thoughts, comments, and suggestions, leave it in the section below. Love to hear back from you guys. Till next time, happy cooking and peace out.